Good.
And
So,
also fantastic.
and also what?
Fantastic.
Oh, that's great to hear. I'm glad you're fantastic. So, we are going to learn about one of the seven basic story plots this evening. And tonight, sorry, I'm not very good with making the slideshows all funky, but I'll work on it in the coming weeks. Yes, Tracy.
Teacher Michael, what is overcoming the monster mean?
Well, that's what we're going to learn about tonight. So, so from the beginning. So, welcome to week 2, overcoming the monster. So, the overcoming the monster plot line. Examples of that in stories are stories like Beowulf or Jaws, King Kong, or Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events. Now, sorry, I've got my notes here. So, do we all know a lot of the basic vocabulary of storytelling? So things like protagonist, antagonist. Do we know things like that yet?
No, I didn't know.
Okay, well then, so I'll teach you a couple of words now. So the first word is protagonist. And the protagonist of any story is the main character, or who we would probably look at as the good guy. And the antagonist is the main character's nemesis or enemy. This is the person that we might look at as the bad guy. Now, so the plot that we're looking at tonight is called Overcoming the Monster. And so to overcome something means to beat it or to pass it or to basically win. So if I'm overcoming a monster, that means that there is a monster in my life that I need to either beat or defeat in battle, uh, or just conquer in general. So the overcoming the monster plot is a story arc that follows a protagonist who struggles to defeat an adversary or an enemy. So, an overcoming the monster story is the story of the main character who is struggling to beat the monster in the story. Now, this monster might be a literal monster. So it might be, I don't know, maybe Frankenstein or Dracula or another type of monster that the main characters actually got to beat in a battle. Or it could be a source of a problem in their life. So it could be something like a fear or an illness or an addiction, just anything bad that your main character, that your protagonist has to defeat. And yeah, so that is an overcoming the monster plot. That is, the main character has a person or a monster or a fear or a sickness or an illness that they need to defeat in this story.
Teacher, is this story real?
Pardon?
Is this story real?
Is this a one more time, Tracy? Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Is this
She
story
means
real?
One at a time, guys. Let Tracy speak, please.
she mean is it that as a non-fiction or a fiction?
Ah, okay. Thank you, Sunny. So overcoming the monster is most of the time it is used in fiction books, so pretend books. Although just about every story that's ever been told, whether it's real or whether it's fiction or whether it's non-fiction, all of them will use one of the 7 plots that we are going to explore within the next 7 weeks. So yeah, tonight is Overcoming the Monster. And examples of that, has anybody here seen King Kong? Has anyone here seen the King Kong movie? Yeah, so if we think about that, if I remember the story correctly, it's been a long time since I've seen it. But actually, someone that has seen it, tell us a little bit about it. What happens in King Kong? So, Amy, did I see you with your hand up before?
No, because I just know the name because I saw a little bit, but I don't remember all.
No worries, not a problem. Sunny, did you have your hand up before?
No, I don't have hand up.
No worries. Or was that you, Tracy? Would you like to tell us a bit about the King Kong story, Tracy?
I didn't watch much because that at home I was study, so I didn't watch King Kong for many.
No worries, not a problem. Well, I'll tell you guys about it then. So King Kong is the story of a group of explorers. They go to an island to explore, and they find this tribe of people there. And then they end up getting captured and taken back to the main part of the island where they see a giant gorilla, and that's King Kong. And yeah, so from there, King Kong becomes the main monster that they need to overcome. So they end up capturing him, taking him back to, I think, New York, where they parade him around to try and make money off people wanting to see him. So that is the story of a group of explorers overcoming, being captured by King Kong, basically, and taking him back to taking him back to their home to make money off him. Yes, Sunny.
King Kong is like a gorillas.
It's there. It's like it's like a giant gorilla. Like
Yeah.
Imagine if a gorilla was about 25 times taller than you. So imagine how tall you are. Imagine that about 25 times. And that's how
It's a
big.
giant.
Yeah, he's huge. So he's the monster because he's literally this giant monkey that's whose followers have had them captured on the island.
But I think that King Kong is a kind of gorilla.
Yeah, I think he is a type of gorilla, but he's a giant gorilla.
He had people from other creature and monster.
Very well could be. Now, has anyone here read any of the series of unfortunate events books? No. Well, a series of unfortunate events. It's actually a very, very interesting book series because it's actually quite a sad story, but It's written in a very entertaining way. Basically, these three kids are, it's a bit sad at the start, they're orphaned, their parents die, but they inherit a lot of money. And these unfortunate events are just different villains trying to outsmart them and steal their money from them. But so the three kids are the protagonists in this story. The villain trying to steal their money is the antagonist in each book, and they overcome the monster by thwarting this person's plans, and they keep their money and they use their wits and outsmart the villain. So the monster can be, like a literal monster, or just a bad person or a bad event happening, just something that needs to be overcome or beaten, in other words. Sunny.
This is a series of Fortnite. I think it's like a big family, and her parent died, so three kids have.
Yeah.
I think it's have working with a man, and that man I think is very like
Yeah.
scary. His hair
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
stuck up.
Yeah. It's a book series written for kids, but yes, it's quite scary. It's a little
And
bit sad, but it's
I
entertaining and
see
it's
a
funny.
character man like this, and his hair like like a
There's the big crazy
dog.
hair. That's right. Now, so does anybody have any questions about what it means about what overcoming the monster means? Are there any questions so far before we go into the key elements and turning points of the story? I just saw a question there. Let me find the answer for you. So a man named Marion C. Cooper created the King Kong story, and I think he created that back in 1933. So 90 years ago, that story was first written. Okay, so the next thing we need to know is what are the important parts of an overcoming the monster story? So there are two important parts that every overcoming the monster story needs to have. And the first part of an overcoming the monster story is an imperfect hero.
Teacher Michael, why is the hero is not perfect?
So the first one, so the reason we need an imperfect hero is because if our hero was perfect, didn't have any problems, didn't need to better himself, then he'd just go out that morning, he'd overcome the monster like that, and the whole story would be about 3 pages long. It would go something like, once upon a time, there was a hero named Jack. Jack had a problem with a man who, I don't know, who did something. So Jack went out and spoke to the man and reached a conclusion. The end. It's not a very exciting story. So, yeah, because, sorry, just going blank in my head for a bit there. But yeah, so if there is something wrong with our hero, maybe there's a problem he needs to overcome, or something about himself that he needs to make better. Maybe he needs to be more considerate. Maybe he needs to think before he immediately gets angry. There's a problem there that's going to stop him from beating this monster right now. And the reason for that is a word called conflict. So where's the drama coming from? That's what we need to establish. If our hero is perfect, there's going to be no drama because again, he'll just go out and just beat the monster. No story. So yeah, so you need to create a protagonist whose weakness directly relates to them not being able to beat the monster. So the story of Jaws, for example, story of a giant shark. The antagonist comes from the sea. He's a big shark, swims in the sea. But the central protagonist is terrified of water. So how is a hero that's terrified of water going to beat an enemy that lives in the water? It's going to be very hard. There's going to have to be a lot of things that he's going to have to do or come to terms with before he can beat this villain. But what happens, good idea, Tracy, they use a boat. But what happens if in this boat, the shark comes up underneath and capsizes the boat and they fall in the water? You know, I haven't actually seen the movie Jaws, but that was just an interesting point that I read when I was doing research for this lesson. So yeah, does everybody understand the point about the imperfect hero? He needs to have a problem that he has to overcome to save the day.
Teacher, is this imperfect hero know how to swim?
Does this imperfect hero have the same what?
Is this imperfect hero know how to swim?
Well, it depends on the story that you want to tell. So if, so using Jaws as the example, if your hero needs to do something in the water to save the day, maybe that's the problem he has to overcome. He needs to learn to swim, or he needs to not be scared in the water. So yeah, really just for that, just think of your hero, think of what he's trying to achieve, and then think what is the biggest problem he could face in achieving this goal. And that's usually how you'd come up with your imperfect hero. That's right. If he can fly, he can go over the sea. Now, the other thing that we need to tell an overcoming the monster story a seemingly invincible enemy. So what this means is that first of all, your bad guy or your monster in this story, he needs to be bigger, or it needs to be bigger, stronger, and scarier than your hero. Because if I'm this big and I'm going up against a bad guy that's this big, the little guy, that's going to be easy. Squash him. He's gone. But if he's bigger and stronger and scarier looking than me, then that's a real challenge that I've got to overcome.
Monster has to be big than the mountain.
Yes. So, so this can be literal. So you could design a monster that's as tall as your house, or it could just be maybe the threat that your characters need to overcome is really big and really serious. Like maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's how would the Japanese stop Godzilla from destroying their city? Or it could be a tidal wave or a tornado or something, a meteor, just anything big and scary that the characters need to overcome. So an important thing is they need to present, or they need to make a problem for your hero that your hero can't ignore. He has to fix this. And yeah, so where are we here? Yeah, so this problem that your villain presents needs to be huge. Like your hero cannot ignore this. And as well, make it like a serious threat too. Perhaps, yes. Now, what a quick question for you, Sonny. I like that you're thinking about this, but why would the big rain coming be a problem for our hero while he's fighting the monster?
Because in the bad weather.
He doesn't like the bad weather. I like it. So yeah, so by making this problem big and real and serious, it gives your hero a reason to want to fight this monster because he needs an umbrella. I like that. So, for example, excuse me. So, let's say, I don't know, I'm just going to pick something really stupid. Let's just say I am Pasta Man. I'm a superhero. My name is Pasta Man. I have the power of linguine and basil pesto. Um, let's say all of a sudden the bad guy wants to make all pizza dough disappear. Why am I going to care about the pizza dough going? I'm Pasta Man. I like pasta. So it needs to be, so this threat that your monster presents, it needs to be something that your hero is going to care about, is going to want to fix. And this, what we're doing now is we're creating a full story that is going to really interest our readers. So we're building drama. We're making it so they want to know what happens next. And yeah, and by building this story and this emotion, you're giving your readers a reason to cheer your hero on. So we'll just take a quick 2-second breath there. Does anyone have any questions so far? Yeah, exactly. I'd have like spaghetti hair, like. Okay. So, as we discussed, the monster in your story, it doesn't need to be mythical. Oh, sorry, it can be mythical, but it doesn't need to be. So it can be a monster like Frankenstein, Dracula, make your own scary monster up, or it can just be maybe a person that wants to take over the world or do something evil. Or again, it can be a situation, like I'm sure a few years ago, someone could have written an overcoming the monster story about the corona pandemic that we had. Finally everybody being able to come back outside again. We overcame the monster. We finally beat the virus. We're able to come out and live our lives again, not have to be on such constant lockdown. So yeah, your monster can be anything. It's just something that your characters need to beat, something or someone that they need to overcome. It could even be, maybe you base the character on someone you don't like at school, a teacher that's mean, or someone that a kid that bullies you or something, says mean things. You could make your character about someone like that. And so, yeah, basically, what happens once we've got our unconquerable foe or our invincible enemy, we've got our imperfect hero. And what happens is when this what's the word I'm looking for? When this antagonist or this event or this person happens and does whatever they're doing to cause a problem for the hero, this is an important one. So we mentioned that the hero has a shortcoming. The guy from Jaws, he's battling a shark, but he's scared of water. So once we've got this, once this event has happened and the hero needs to engage, we need to also that event needs to change how the hero sees things. So if you look at, oh, I'm just thinking of a good one. All the ones I'm thinking of are like horror movies and things I probably shouldn't be talking about with you guys. Oh, that's a good one. If I think of an example, I'll get back to it. But yeah, basically, maybe it could be a big loss, like maybe the bad guy, I don't know, the bad guy releases a bunch of robots to try and take over humanity or something. Maybe one of those robots kills the hero's mum or something like that. Something that's happened where now he's looking at the world a different way. And yeah. Oh, bless. I love how you guys are getting your imaginations out there thinking of stories. It's good. But yeah, so yeah, basically this event that happens, it changes the hero's life or his view of the world. And that's usually what it takes to kick the hero into gear to go and overcome the monster. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Terrific. Okay, now, so let's have a think about what we've covered. We've talked about what the overcoming the monster story is. We have talked about the two parts we need. So the imperfect hero and the seemingly invincible monster. And now, so actually, do we have any questions about that before we move into the rest, the next part of the class?
Teacher Michael,
Yes.
but is this story we need to write is long?
We'll talk about that at the end of class. So we've got an exercise that I'm going to get you guys to do a bit later. And
Can
that
we make the story?
and that is actually going to be the homework. That's actually going to lead into your homework for next week.
But the story is too difficult and I didn't know what is overcoming me.
Well, we're going to give you a chance to work with a group of, I'm going to break you guys up into two groups, put you in breakout rooms for a couple of minutes, and I'll explain what you guys need to do. But yeah, by the end of the night, you should have a fair understanding of overcoming the monster. But to overcome something simply means to beat it. So, for example, let's say you and me, we both go 10-pin bowling, right? Oh, we both play badminton. If you beat me every week and I go home frustrated and angry, oh, she's better than me, meh. But then one week I have a really good game and I finally beat you, I've overcome you. That's what that means. Okay, so the next part, we have, so we now have our framework or kind of the order that the story should go in. I will leave that up to you, whether you want to write in past simple or present simple. So has it happened in the past or is it happening now? I'll leave that up to you when you write the story. So the template for writing and overcoming the monster story is actually quite simple. There are 5 key events in an overcoming the monster story. I'm going to share my whiteboard so I can write this down for you. Okay, so the Overcoming the Monster story plot has 5 key parts to it. So part 1 is the anticipation. So the anticipation, that's the part at the beginning of the story. That's where we want to, or like it's called, that's where we want to give our audience a small peek at what's coming, but don't give it all away yet. So we give them a little bit. Sorry, I can't write and talk at the same time.
Teacher Michael, you can continue.
Sorry, I can't type and talk at the same time. My brain just goes. So I'm gonna write this and then we'll talk about it.
Your head is have a mess.
Nah, my hair's just a bit crazy today. I had it brushed back, but it fell forward. Does that all the time. Okay, so the first part of the Overcoming the Monster story. So yeah, this is the part of the story where we show the reader what's going to happen later in the story. The important part is to make sure you only tell a small part of the story. So don't give too much away. So if you have a big battle with demons that come up from hell, going to happen in your story. If you tell, so if you give it away straight away and go, oh, you know, there were the skies were full of fire and Satan was flying around and getting his demons ready, and this is like, oh well, we know what's going to come later on is demons. But if you were to tell the story, or if you were to write it where it's like the sky had an eerie red glow and all throughout the city echoed the most evil laughter I'd ever heard, sort of thing. So you're giving descriptions there that in the end are going to add up to the story being about demons and fighting the devil and all of that. But you haven't just said, yep, the devil's coming later. You've kind of given really subtle little hints. So yeah, make sure that it's not obvious just how bad this evil is going to be, this monster is going to be. The audience knows that something is there, but the threat isn't like right there in your face. It's coming. So this is building anticipation. It's building drama. It's getting our audience excited to see what's going to happen next. And yeah, so it could be a normal day in your character's life. Like they go about what they normally do, just go about it as they would, and then all of a sudden, you know, like a big red fireball comes out of the sky. It's like, what's that? And then yeah, these things just build up slowly. Do we have any questions about the anticipation stage? What we should possibly write or write in our story at this stage?
I have no idea.
You have no idea. Well, let's keep going on with this because then we're going to put you guys into a group and you're going to plan a story out in groups of Beautiful. So I'll put you into two groups of 5. You're all going to plan a story using this. You're all going to plan a story using this plot line. And then for your homework, you're actually going to write the story over the course of the next week. We're going to check them out. We're going to check some of them out next week's class. And then we'll move on to the next plot point as well. So the second part of an overcoming the monster story is called the dream stage. Sorry, guys, give me 2 seconds. So, the dream stage, which happens after the anticipation, okay, so the dream stage, part 2. This is where we meet the hero and see what he can do. So at this stage of the story, they know they have to fight the monster, but it isn't a huge problem yet. It's not like something they've got to rush out and do right now. They've still got time to train and prepare. They may have also had a dream about defeating the monster, and they know that this could soon be their reality. So, that dream might be a literal dream they have in their sleep. It could just be maybe a close friend of theirs, or like a coach or a trainer or whatever. He's told them, he said, like, you're the hero that has to beat this monster. But either way, they are aware they're going to have to fight this monster soon. Do we have any questions about the dream stage?
Teacher, I have no idea, but you write that they may have had. So, what is mean? The word you write that they may have had a dream.
Oh, they may have had.
Yes, what is it?
So that is just writing in the past tense. So that's saying I have had a dream. I could say as well, I had a dream, but that was just a personal choice of mine. So you can say they may have had a dream, or you can say they had a dream.
Okay, I understand what you write.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, so do we have any questions about the dream stage of the story?
No.
Beautiful. So stage 3 is called the frustration. Okay, so part 3 of our overcoming the monster story is called frustration. So this is where it seems hopeless to the hero. They're never going to beat the monster. It's pointless. They can't do it. Why even bother? And this is all due to that weakness that the hero has. But yeah, so remember that weakness that we gave the hero. Um, yeah, so the monster comes for the hero, as well as this problem that they're facing as well, they can't beat. It just all seems like too much. This is the point in the story where the hero finally realizes that they need to beat this weakness if they want to overcome the monster. So they know they need to, yeah, beat this problem that they're having so that they can go on to beat the monster later in the story. So, any questions about the frustration section?
Teacher, why is this story so long?
Pardon?
Why is this story so long?
This actually isn't the story. This is the framework for the story. So, this is the kind of plan that you want to follow if you want to write a story like this.
Can I
So,
write it? Maybe
well,
it took me for 1 year to write this.
This is just notes about things you need to think about. So your story that you write can be longer or shorter than this. That's entirely up to you. But yeah, this is the plot line that I want us to work on this week. Next week we'll have a different one. But I'm going to be very interested to read all of your stories and to
Teacher,
see how you all interpret this this story plot line. I'm excited to see that.
teacher,
Yes.
can you talk a little about frustration again?
The frustration, yeah, of course. So I'll go over it from the beginning. So in the beginning, we've got the anticipation. This is the part of the story where we build excitement with the audience. We set up what's going to happen. Next, we have the dream stage, and this is where we meet the hero and we get to see what he's about. We learn about our hero and see what skills they have. At this stage, they know that they're going to have to fight the monster later on, but it's not a problem right now. They may have had a dream about defeating the monster, and they know that this could soon be their reality. So they know they're going to have to fight the monster later. Next, we get into the frustration. So this is where your hero maybe starts to train or starts to prepare to fight the monster. But this major problem that he's got is just making that preparation so much harder. So that's kind of like a second thing he's got to worry about. So yeah, so now we're building up those stakes and showing that showing that he's not perfect, showing that he's trying his hardest. He's going to overcome this challenge. He's going to work however hard he needs to. So that's kind of where we're at in the frustration. Then I'll give you guys a moment. Okay, so part number 4 of this story is called The Nightmare and the Overwhelming Challenge. So in this part of the story, this is where the hero has to fight the monster now. Can't be put off any further. He has to go fight the monster now, even though he's still not overcome his weakness yet. So that weakness that is causing him to struggle to beat this monster, that's still there. So now he's got to fight the monster while dealing with this weakness too. So this is the part of the story where the hero's dream about fighting the monster turns into a nightmare. So this is where the hero finally realizes just how tough this monster is, and then he's going to have to fight a hell of a lot harder than he has been to actually, or he's going to have to fight smarter to overcome this monster. The monster must almost win because we can't give the hero a victory that is too quick or too easy, or else, again, the reader's going to lose interest because we don't want to see a hero that just, yep, that's done. Yep, that's done. Yep, that's done. We want to see them work and work and work and fight and not give up and, like to do this pretty much until they can't do this anymore. So this is the part of the story where there's lots of tension. The reader's sitting there reading going, what's going to happen next? Oh, I can't wait to turn the page. Then they get really excited about it. And things need to look hopeless. So it needs to look like the monster's going to win pretty much right up until the end. And finally, number 5.
Teacher Michael,
Yes.
I don't understand number 4.
Number 4. Sure. So you know how we have the dream stage at number 2, where the hero first, the hero first finds out he's going to have to fight the monster, and that maybe he has a dream about it. This is going to happen. So the nightmare at number 4 is where he realizes just how much more serious the situation is. So he thought, yep, I'm going to have to fight this monster. I'm going to have to save everyone. But he gets to see he starts fighting the monster, and the monster's really big, and he's got big sharp claws, and he's got this, like can breathe fire and whatever. But yeah, number 4 is where he realizes just how dangerous this situation is and how much more serious he needs to fight. Does that make sense, Tracy?
Yes, it makes sense for me. I understand now.
Beautiful. Good. So number 5. Number 5. Death makes an appearance in the final moment. So this is the part of the story where it looks like it's absolutely at its worst for the hero. It looks like the hero's about to be defeated, the hero's about to lose. But then right at the last minute, he finally comes through and he defeats the monster.
The imperfect hero turned into a perfect hero.
Well, I wouldn't say he becomes a perfect hero, but he overcomes this problem, and it makes him a better version of himself, or it makes her a better version of herself after they've gone through it. Yes?
Can you copy the 4 part on the
Pardon?
chat? Can you copy the 4 part before on the chat?
Oh, you'd like me to, would you like to see the other whiteboard?
Yes. Okay, teacher.
Okay, very good.
Sorry, teacher Michael, but
Yes.
you write that finally muster up the courage. What is the word strength?
Ah, sorry, that's meant to say strength.
Okay,
Thank you for pointing that out, Tracy. I miss letters sometimes without realizing it. Okay, so the last part of our overcoming the monster story is called Death Makes an Appearance in the Final Moment. So this is the part of the story where it looks like all hope is lost, or all hope is lost for the hero, that should say. There we go. All hope is lost for the hero. Right as it looks like our hero is finished, they somehow save the day at the last minute. They finally muster up the courage or the strength to defeat the monster, despite how powerful and strong the monster is. So this is kind of like the best example I've got. I don't know if any of you play Mortal Kombat, but Raiden, the Thunder God, right as he's about to be defeated by the evil Emperor and his invading forces, the Thunder God gets this last vestige of strength from the other gods who are helping him protect the earth, and he manages to overcome the evil emperor. So I don't know if anybody plays the Mortal Kombat video games, but that happened in that story. That's the best. That's the first example that I thought of that. So the hero lives and the monster dies. This can be literally or figuratively. So if there's an actual monster, yeah, you may have the hero kill the monster in your story. Or if it's an event that's happened, like a disaster or a pandemic or something like that, the fact that the human beings survived through that and they were able to continue living past that threat, that is overcoming the monster in the sense of like an event happening. So the monster normally dies in the final scene or chapter. And this gives the hero what they really needed all along, a reason to overcome their own failings. So the problem that the hero had at the beginning of the story, they've overcome that problem that they've been having. And that's what they needed all along, was really just to overcome that shortcoming they were having. Now, I'll make sure I send this into the Zalo group for you guys. But what I'd like to do now, just to finish the lesson off, I'm going to put you guys in two groups of 2 groups of 5. Right, so we've just got about 10 minutes more, guys, and then we can finish up. So this will be... So I'm going to put you guys in... Lamb, can you do me a favor and can you contact Ms. Duke about that? She's the admin for the Zalo group for this class. So if you get in contact with Ms. Duke, she'll get you in it. I unfortunately don't have the admin capabilities to do that yet. Okay, so I'm going to put you guys in a breakout room now, 2 groups of 5. And you're going to have 10 minutes. So I'm going to give you guys 10 minutes in a breakout room with a group. And in that 10 minutes, I want you guys to map out an overcoming the monster story with your group. So I want you to plan this story with your group of 5, but your homework will be to actually write this story. So it'll be interesting to see how you guys go in a group planning event, but how you tell your individual version of the story that your group planned. So So before we start this, has everybody taken notes down about the 5 parts or the 5 stages of the overcoming the monster plot? So you'll need to have taken notes down about that, and as well have taken some notes down about the imperfect hero and the seemingly invincible enemy. So those are the 7 bits you need to consider while writing this story. Okay, so
Teacher.
yeah,
So each team will make a story together.
so each team is going to plan their stories together, but each student is going to then take that plan and write their own story with it. So I want to see how it's really share your ideas with your group. There's not going to be any, this one was the best one, this one was terrible, that like it's literally just for me to see how you take a plan you've made and turn it into a story. So I'm going to open the rooms now. I'll set them for 12 minutes. Sweet, so you guys have 12 minutes to plan this thing. I'm going to jump between the rooms and I'm going to come in and help you guys out. So I'm going to open the rooms now and I'll see you guys in the rooms.